ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Jai Gurudev. So yesterday we saw this verse number 45, which is Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nidvandvo Nitya Sattvastaha Niryogakshema Atmavan. So the subject matter of the Vedas is related to the three qualities. O Arjuna, be one who is free from the threefold qualities, from the sorrow of the pairs of opposites, one who is ever established in Sattva-guna, one who is free from the anxieties of acquiring and protecting, one who is a master of oneself. So while talking about Karma Yoga, Krishna is also making a distinction. He's comparing Karma Yoga to pure karma, which is followed by the Karma Kandis. That which is in the beginning of the Veda. Whereas Karma Yoga is all about following a life of Vedanta. Incorporating Vedanta into life is Karma Yoga. So Shankara prefaces his commentary to this verse by saying that for the people who are committed to enjoyments and power, for those who do not have Viveka Buddhi, the subject matter of the Vedas becomes Traigunya Vishaya. This is not a full definition of the Veda, which contains much more, including Vedanta. What is meant here is that for those who are committed to Bhoga and Aishwarya, all scriptures will be Traigunya Vishaya alone. One usually looks in the scriptures only for what one wants to see. It is like going to a hardware store that has hundreds of things and looking only for what you want. Similarly, there are a number of topics in the scriptures and you look only for what you want. So the person entangled in the Traigunya Vishaya is looking for the end as power and fame and securities, artha kama. The Veda provides you with legitimate means for achieving various ends. There are unknown means for known ends, known means for unknown ends, and unknown means for unknown ends. Heaven, for example, is an unknown end because it is not directly known to us. Another Janma, a better birth, is also an unknown end that the Shastra says will be accomplished by a life of Dharma. Dharma is a known means because what is right and wrong is not totally unknown to us. The Veda confirms what means are right and wrong to accomplish this desirable unknown end later, be it heaven or another Janma. So we have known means for unknown ends. Now, previously, I did not know that if I did the right thing, I would get punya. And by doing the right thing, I not only get the result right here, Drishtafala, but I get Adrishtafala also, a later result. In this way, the Veda talks about known means for gaining unknown ends. It also talks about unknown means for known ends, like having a child. So the Putra Kameshti Yaga is totally unrelated to any fertility. But when one does that, you have a known end, which is having a child. The ritual that is provided has nothing to do with having a child and is only performed when all other known avenues have been explored. If, after consulting doctors and following their advice, there is still no child, then there is definitely some obstacle, pratibandhaka. The only way remaining to remove the obstacle is through prayer. Therefore, the Veda gives a ritual which is a prayer, not a broad spectrum ritual, but a specific ritual meant solely for having a child. Thus, you find that the Veda reveals a variety of means and ends, known and not known to us, but all of them are meant for limited results. These are what people committed to Bhoga and Aishwarya look for. For them, the Veda means only that part which relates to the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, traigunya vishaya, meaning samsara. Sattva will give you some happiness, rajas will give you agitation, and tamas will give you dullness and sorrow. Thus, these three qualities are what give you joy and sorrow, sukha and dukkha. Samsara means that which is within the fold of the three gunas. If you go back to Tattva Bodh and see how the world is created, the universe is created, first it is Brahmashraya Maya, and Vedanta has brought in the aspect of Maya to explain the creation of the world. And Sattva Rajas Tamo Gunatmika Maya Asti. Maya is incorporated, all the three gunas. Maya is made up of these three gunas. And somewhere once Gurudev was talking about a scientist who said, when you have three pendulums, three of those copper balls, and you put them into motion, they will continue to keep moving. You just need one little push and then it'll go on moving throughout. That is how the whole universe is continually going on. It's these three gunas that are constantly in flux that makes the universe seemingly eternal. So these three qualities are what give all the pairs of opposites: joy, sorrow, sukha, dukkha, etc. Means and ends are not the only subject matter of the Veda. In this verse, Krishna advised Arjuna straightaway not to be one for whom samsara is an end to be accomplished. So it is not that you have to be a better person in the sense. You have to do that inner polishing that is there. That comes with karma yoga. But in one of the Ask Gurudev Anything, I think Dinesh Bhai or someone had asked, how do we make ourselves more and more perfect? Gurudev says that is the problem with us. There is no need to attain perfection. You are already perfect. So stop going on this endless path of becoming or wanting to be perfect. So he says, drop that want. So here, samsara, wanting to, having samsara as an end is similar to that, is an end to be accomplished. He said, Nistraigunyo bhava. In fact, samsara cannot be an end to be accomplished. We already have it. We are already within the fold of the three gunas and are seeking freedom from it. A drowning man does not require more water. He is already drowning and will not want to get into the ocean. Similarly, we are already up to our necks in the ocean of samsara. Thus, samsara cannot be an end to be achieved at any time. It can only be a situation to get out of. Krishna was as though telling Arjuna, do not look into the Veda to find a better place in samsara. Be a little discriminative. You have come up to the Veda, yet you are trying to perpetuate your samsara. It is meaningless. May you therefore become one for whom samsara is not there. Nistraigunyo bhava. See, finding a better place in samsara. That is what we subconsciously are doing. But there we have to be a little discriminative. Shankara gives the meaning in short. May you be free from desire. Nishkama bhava. That is, he says, may you be free from the desire for pleasures and power. Let these not be the end in view. Further, may you become free from the opposites. Let the causes of sukha and dukkha nirdvandvaha bhava. Shankara also explains the words dvandva and nirdvandva. The causes, hetus for sukha and dukkha, pleasure and pain, are referred to as opposites. Meaning of the word dvandva here. The one who is free from the opposites is called nirdvandva, free from the causes of sukha, dukkha, etc. How can you be free from the causes of sukha and dukkha? By not being dependent for your happiness on the presence or absence of anything. So, a very important sentence here. By not being dependent for your happiness on the presence or absence of anything. So, with or without, you are happy. So, you're not doing things for happiness, but you're doing things out of happiness. Cold and heat, for example, can make you unhappy. If they do, it means that you are dependent on their absence or presence for your happiness. That means that you are not nirdvandva. So, actually, as sadhaks, we should welcome these dvandvas in our life because that is an opportunity for us to exercise this, endure them. Like Krishna tells Arjuna earlier, Matra sparshastu kanteya si shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama payino nityaha tam stitikshasva bharata. So once the sense organs encounter sense objects, the pairs of opposites appear. They are inevitable. And since they're inevitable, do not fight them, do not resist them, just endure them and not be dependent on them for your happiness. That is nirdvandva. Another set of opposites is jaya and apajaya, victory and defeat. They also become the hetu, the basis for your sukha and dukkha. In defeat, there is pain, dukkha. In victory, there is elation, sukha. To this you may say, granted, I do not want pain. But why should I not be elated? The reason is that if you are elated, you are definitely going to have pain also. Therefore, may you not let the opposites affect you. Nidvandvaha bhava. So, if you are very elated at something nice happening to you, you would reach a peak. And then, whenever there's someone reaches a peak, there will be a valley, there will be a plateau. And that is where there will be a dip as well. When there's a peak, there is also a dip. So, that is why you refrain from getting over elated when there is sukha. Maintaining that plateau, that is what we talk about in the happiness program. Being centered, irrespective of the pairs of opposites. Although you cannot avoid winter and summer, you can allow them not to affect you by maintaining a certain composure or attitude towards them. In this way, you need not be carried away by changing situations which may not always be to your liking. So, this is Nirdvandvaha Bhava. One whose mind, whose thinking enjoys a predominance of the sattva guna is called sattvastha. See, very carefully selected words here Swamiji is using. One whose mind, whose thinking enjoys a predominance of sattva guna. As long as we are in samsara, we cannot escape the three gunas. Each of us, including an enlightened master who is in a physical form, will have the three gunas affecting him or her, right? But when there is a predominance of sattva guna, he is said to be sattvastha. When sattva is predominant, there is composure, discrimination, inquiry, and knowledge. All the human values are expressed when there is one is established in sattva, who has a predominance of sattva. Rajoguna, on the other hand, means agitation, ambition, and so on. Therefore, may your commitment always be to knowledge only. Nitya sattvastaha. Nitya sattvastaha bhava. So that you can discover yourself to be nistraigunya. Because knowledge is the means to the end. So, the more and more you are exposed to the knowledge, that is, you're predominantly in Sattva Guna, then there is an opportunity for you to discover yourself to be Nistraigunya. Shankara also explains what the word Niryogakshema means in his commentary to this verse. Gaining something that you do not have is called yoga, something that is not with you, something that you want to accomplish, something that is desirable. Kshema means having to protect what you have already gained. Say you do not have a job and you apply for one and then go for an interview. This is all done for the sake of getting the job, and therefore you are doing yoga. Once you have the job, it becomes another job to retain it. The whole job of retaining a job is what is meant by kshema. Similarly, earning money is yoga and hanging on to it, investing it is kshema. Having a child is yoga. Bringing up and retaining the child, not losing it, is kshema. Getting married is yoga and making it work is kshema. Therefore, there is yoga kshema everywhere. A person's problems will always be related to either yoga or kshema. Either you do not get what you want, or you have lost what you had, or are losing what you have. From the hair on your head onwards, there are hundreds of things that we are losing, which cause problems of anxiety, all of which are yoga and kshema. Krishna therefore said to Arjuna, may you be a person who has no concern or anxiety due to yoga or kshema. Nir-yoga kshema bhava. The whole idea here is that for those who are only concerned with getting what they want and hanging on to it, engaging themselves in the pursuit of moksha will be very difficult. Krishna did not say that you should not go for yoga and kshema. Rather, he said, let there be no concern born of yoga and kshema. Very carefully selected words again. In other words, may you be free. So we'll just spend a little time on this paragraph here. Where all are we involved in yoga and kshema? In fact, every aspect of our life. For instance, see, a person's problems will always be related to either yoga or kshema. Either you do not get what you want, or you have lost what you had, or are losing what you have. So when we are in a situation that is causing us happiness, that is giving us so-called happiness, giving us happiness, for instance, you have met with a dear friend of yours. I think this is what China had mentioned in his Gita series. So that he is going to be there with you for a short while and he's going to leave, that very thought of that itself will cause you dukkha. You want to hold on to it. Similarly, health.
Jay Gurudev, he also gave an example when children come and leave home.
Correct. Children
Yeah.
can't leave home. So you're not in the moment, you're not enjoying that. The you're already concerned and anxious about the the day that they're going to leave. And then you become sad. Same with health. When we are losing what you have, supposing you have some pain somewhere or you are ill, you have some illness, you have lost your so-called the health that you were before this happened. So there is this concern and anxiety about that. What Krishna is saying is not that you should not take care of yourself. That is not the teaching at all. Do not be unduly anxious and concerned about it. Do what is to be done and be free. That's what hypochondriacs are. Hypochondriacs are so concerned. They are overly indulged in their entangled in taking care of their health. So much so that even if they are normal, they think something is abnormal. Something is not right. Constantly worrying about their health. So, health, happiness, wealth, relationships. Not that you should not maintain relationships, but there are so many factors that go into keeping that relationship. Karma, for instance, with all its Gurudev says your enemies sometimes become your friends and your friends turn enemies. You never know. But then we want to hold on to it. That holding on, that yoga is in is intertwined in all our activities. It's good to maintain relationships, of course, yes. Not that you should not maintain relationships. But when things are going apart, when you have done your bit, your 100% from your side, let it be free. So let there be no concern born of yoga and kshema. In other words, may you be free. Krishna did not say that you should not go for yoga and kshema. Rather, he said, let there be no concern born of yoga and kshema. Further, Krishna said, may you be one whose mind and senses are with you. May you be Atmavan, a master of yourself. All of this is explained throughout the Gita. Otherwise, Krishna's words would have been merely advice and not teaching. This verse tells us what Krishna was going to teach. Here, Atma refers to the body, mind, and senses, and not to the Satchit Ananda Atma, which is already you. Because you have a body, mind, and senses, what is being said here is, may you have them, may they not have you. May you not be in the hands of your fancies. May your mind be with you. May you become free from indifference and mechanical thinking, pramada. In other words, may you become alert. May you be together. So that in that Uddhared Atmanatmanam Natmanam Avasadayet Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhu Atmaiva Ripuratmana. So your mind is both your friend and enemy. So here Krishna is goading us to befriend our mind. Keep your mind with you. Do not let it become your enemy. See, when you're alert, you are exercising your viveka and discrimination. You're aware. So, living that life of awareness, being in the moment, basically, that is what the whole art of living is talking about. Is Gurudev says, be in the moment, living every moment with awareness and not becoming mechanical thinking, pramada. Pramada is thinking that you are the body, mind, sense complex. Whereas Atmavan is, may you have them, may they not have you. You be alert. Those who are committed to Bhoga and Aishwarya see the Veda as having only the three qualities as its subject matter, Traigunya Vishaya, whereas it has much more to teach. For example, the contents of this verse are taught in the Veda. Vedanta is also a part of the Veda. Krishna was saying that Arjuna had learnt enough of the Traigunya Vishaya part of the Veda. Now it was time for him to study the other part, the Vedanta. Thus, he used the word Nistraigunya. He then went on to emphasize his point. So, anyone wants to share anything? So, what are the important words that we learned from this verse? Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nityasattvastaha Niryogakshema Atmavan.
There is no volume or
Yeah, no, I'm waiting for everyone to share. Let's all share. See, unless we share, there will not be that. Everyone will gain, no? But everyone's sharing, which is what China also was inspiring us to do. After each of his sessions, he would say, 10 minutes you do Manana and let everyone share. It should not be just only one person is talking. Only when everyone shares, because there's so much that we can learn. That's the whole point of having a Manana session. One is doubts getting cleared. Second is having a better perspective, more clarity getting
Can
coming
you
into.
again say about the yoga and Kshema? In
What is it? Can't hear.
yoga and Kshema.
Uh-huh.
Can you repeat something about that?
Yeah, yoga is getting what you do not have. Like in the example given, if there is a person who does not have a job and is attending an interview, he gets the job. So that part becomes yoga. Whatever is required to get the job is yoga. Then once you get the job, retaining it becomes kshema.
Okay.
So protecting, retaining what you have acquired, acquiring what you do not have is yoga, and retaining what you have acquired is kshema. Money, for
So he
instance.
will do the yoga and Kshema. I mean, this thing he promise. Means whatever is required, you will get it, and whatever is with you will be retained. Is it that?
He's asking Arjuna to become what? Niryoga kshema. He says you become one who is not overly concerned about or anxious about yoga and kshema.
But in some
Niryoga kshema, like nirdvandva, become
but
free
in
from the
some
pairs
chap
of
in
opposites.
one chapter this he said no, Krishna said yoga kshemam vahamyam. Means I
Ah,
will do your
that is what he gives you the guarantee. He says,
hmm,
you do not be worried about. Not that
hmm,
you should not take care of yoga and kshema. You
hmm,
do not be overly concerned about yoga
okay.
and kshema. Don't be anxious about it. Let's see, Krishna did not say you should not go for yoga and kshema. Rather, he said, let there be no concern born of yoga and kshema. In other words, may you be free. It doesn't mean Krishna will take care of everything. You don't need to do anything. No, of course you need to do. That's the whole point of Karma Yoga.
Yes.
So you do what is to be done and drop it and leave it, let go. Otherwise, you're going after bhoga and aishwarya all the time. You're getting entangled in the Traigunya Vishaya, which is the samsara.
Hmm.
But whereas here he's asking Arjuna to become Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna.
Hmm.
You have learnt enough of the Traigunya Vishaya of the Veda, all the Karma Kanda, all the archery that you've learnt, Shastra, Astra, everything you've learnt. Now is the time for you to get on to Vedanta. And Vedanta goads you to become Nistraigunya. And for that, becoming Sattvasta, predominantly having Sattva Guna, is important. Because Sattva Guna is the one that gives you clarity, is knowledge. Sattva Guna is remaining in knowledge. It will one who's thinking enjoys the predominance of Sattva Guna is called Sattvasta. When Sattva is predominant, there is composure, discrimination, inquiry, and knowledge. Knowledge can dawn only when Sattva is predominant. As long as you're caught up with Rajoguna, you're caught up with a lot of desires. Desires are born from Rajoguna, ambition, wanting all the time. So that cannot get you knowledge, right? So knowledge can dawn only when there is Sattva. Sattva is predominant. And forget about Tamas. Tamas is dullness and inertia. So having a predominance of Sattva Guna is Sattvastha. And Atmavan. Atmavan is being together, being composed. Be a master of yourself. See, here in this context, Atma refers to the body, mind, senses, not Satchidananda, because that you already are. This is another example of how we will have to understand Gita in context. We cannot pick up this verse out of context and say, he's asked you to be Atmavan. That means you are not Atma, you become Atma. That is not true. You already are Atma. That is the truth. That is the fact. It is only because of this superimposition that you think you are the body, mind, senses. So here, Atma refers to the body, mind, senses and not to Satchidananda, which already you are. Because you have a body and mind and senses, what is being said here is, may you have them, may they not have you. Let you not become a slave to your body, mind, senses. You be a master of them. May you become free from indifference and mechanical thinking, pramada. So, living a life of awareness, of alertness. Fine. So, we'll go on to the next verse. Anyone else wants to share? So, thus he used the word Nistraigunya. Arjuna had learnt enough of the Traigunya Vishaya. and it was time for him to study the other part, the Vedanta. Thus, he used the word nisraidunya. He then went on to emphasize his point. यावानर्थ उदपाने सर्वतः सम्प्लुतोदके तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विजानतः. Sarvatah, everywhere. Sampluta udake, when it is being flooded. Udapane, in a pond or well, any small reservoir of water. Yavan, as much. Arthaha, use. Tavan, that much. Vijanataha Brahmanasya, for the knowing Brahmana. Sarveshu, in all. Vedeshu, the Vedas. So, sarvatah sampluta udake udapane yavan artah tavan vijanatah brahmanasya sarveshu vedeshu. For the Brahmana who knows the self, all the Vedas are of so much use as a small reservoir is when there is a flood everywhere. What a beautiful simile. The reason Krishna asked Arjuna to go beyond those parts of the Veda dealing only with samsara is given in this excellent verse. The word Brahmana means one in whom sattva is predominant. Therefore, a Brahmana is a thinking person, a discriminating person. The word Vijanataha, qualifying the Brahmana, refers to one who knows what it is all about. For an enlightened Brahmana, Vijanatah Brahmanasya, Krishna says, the portion of the Veda relating only to samsara is as useful as the water from a well when the entire countryside has been flooded. Sarvatah Sampluta Udake. When the wells and ponds themselves are under water, you need not look to them for water. The end of seeking. The various means and ends talked about in the Veda are all limited so that any result you derive from the karmas enjoined is also going to be limited. The wise person is the one who knows he is limitless, Param Brahma. When a person is limitless, Ananda, where is the necessity of looking for Ananda? Because the very nature, Swarupa of the person is Ananda, one who has this knowledge does not look for Ananda. Just as a sugar crystal does not require any sugar at all to make itself sweeter. Nothing can become sweeter than sugar. Once something has crystallized into sugar, it cannot be sweetened any further. The very crystallization indicates that the sweetness saturation has been reached. The American system of government may be better than the Russian system, but their sugars are both the same. In the same way, you are Ananda by nature. When you are Ananda, you do not require any source of Ananda, any source of security. But this is exactly what you are seeking through all these karmas, means, and ends. Therefore, the various means and ends mentioned in all the four Vedas will only be of as much use tavan sarveshu vedeshu as the small ponds and wells are when there is water everywhere. When the ponds and wells are already flooded by water, where is the pond or the well in fact? All that Krishna said in the previous verses was to create in Arjuna an interest in karma yoga, which Krishna has not yet talked about. He had only talked about Sankhya, knowledge. After asking Arjuna to listen to what he had to say about karma yoga, he began praising it, saying that there was no possibility of losing anything or incurring any wrong result by its practice because karma yoga is not mere karma. He then pointed out that people do karmas because they do not know what they really want. Since what they want is not very clear, they go after enjoyment and power. However, when what is wanted is very clear, they go after enjoyment and power. However, when what is wanted is very clear, the mind is settled. The storm is over, and there is no more interest in experimentation. There is no more trying to see if this or that will do it. All experimentation stops because there is clarity with reference to what is wanted, which itself is a great blessing. Then it becomes a question of whether you want to live a life of sannyasa or karma yoga, the only two lifestyles open to you. Between the two, you have a choice, but in fact, there is really very little choice because it all depends upon where you are. Sannyasa may not be advisable at all. Therefore, karma yoga is preferable. Both have a common goal. Both are meant for moksha in the form of knowledge. A sannyasi works for moksha, and so does a karma yogi. Although Krishna has talked so much about karma yoga, he has not actually said what it is. In the next verse, he explains it. And the next verse is Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbhuhu ma te sangostva karmani. So we will just stop here. Tell me whether you want to repeat any verse, any paragraph here. Today we will stop. We'll complete the whole thing by 6 o'clock because I have another meeting at 6.
Can you elaborate about that whale and flooded water and udpane, that things? 46 verse again in short.
Yeah. Yavanartha udapane sarvata samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. So for a brahmana, vijanataha brahmana, one who is discriminating, one who knows what it is all about, or for an enlightened brahmana, Krishna says, the portion of the Veda relating only to samsara is as useful as the water from a well when there is flood everywhere. So when there is a flood everywhere,
That
you
water
can
is not useful. Flooded water is not useful.
not flooded water.
Mm,
The water
mm.
from a well is not
Well
useful.
is only useful.
No, is not useful. What is the use of a well when there is water everywhere? Right? So the well
Mm,
here is likened to the first portion of the Veda.
mm.
It meant when there is abundance of water, just
Mm.
we were looking for just small pond or river.
Which is
It meant
not,
that.
which is not
Uh,
polluted. Only that well water we can consume.
it is not talking about the polluted water
Hmm.
or clean
Hmm.
water. It is the amount of water. You were looking only for the small portion of water, but now the whole place is flooded. So abundance of water, and you were looking for a small portion then. Now it is everywhere. The water is everywhere. It has nothing to do with the polluted water here. He is not meaning that.
See, this is a pratibandhaka. This is our concept. For us, when we talk of floods, it means, because that is what we've seen, and that is what is our concept in our head. Flood means muddy water, and well water means clean water. But that is not the point. What Mrinal said rightly, flood, when it's flooded with water, understand that what is meant is water everywhere, usable water, clean water. Right? So the whole concept here is about telling you how insignificant the Veda, which is the Karma Kanda part of the Veda, is when you have reached the ultimate, a person who's enlightened. So here it is the Vijanataha Brahmanasya. For a Brahmana who's enlightened, who's reveling in Satchidananda, whose happiness, absolute happiness, what is the use of a little well when there is flood everywhere? He is happiness himself. So for him, that well is insignificant, isn't it? I hope you've got the
Yeah,
idea.
yeah, correct. Thank you. Thank you,
Right?
Mataji. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so this pratibandhaka is because we have these concepts. So when we approach the knowledge, when we are doing this reading, that uh, the reason why Manana is again is because of this. So these pratibandhakas, these obstacles can be slowly removed. That clarity gets dawned. Good that you asked the question. So we'll stop here and we'll go on to the most important verse of that talks about Karma Yoga tomorrow. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Jai Gurudev. Today I'm going to play the Maya Panchakam, okay?
निरुपमनित्यनिरंशकेऽप्यखण्डे मयि चिति सर्वविकल्पनादिशून्ये घटयति जगदीश जीवभेदम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया श्रुतिशतनिगमान्तशोधकानपि अहह धनादिनिदर्शनेन सद्यः कलुषयति चतुष्पदाद्यभिन्ना न घटितघटना पडीयसी माया सुखचिदखण्डविबोधमद्वितीयम् वियदनलादिविनिर्मित्ते नियोज्य भ्रमयति भवसागरे नितान्तम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया अपगतगुणवर्णजातिभेदे सुखचितिविप्रविडाद्यहङ्कृतिं च स्फुटयति सुतदारकेहमोहम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया विधिहरिहरविभेदमप्य खण्डे बत विरचय्य बुधानपि प्रकामम् भ्रमयति हरिहरविभेदभावा न घटितघटना पडीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना पडीयसी माया